There is particular kind of madness that only football produce. It is not the madness of war. It's not the madness of financial markets. It's not even the madness of opening Twitter at 9 a.m. It is something altogether more specific, more personal, more humiliating. It is the madness of believing genuinely, physically, spiritually. Believing that your team, who are 2 goals down from the first leg, playing away from home against Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid, are going to come back. And the worst part, I don't just believe it intellectually, I believe it in my chest, in my actual ribcage. Right now, I'm filming this. That sound you hear, that's either my heart believing in Barcelona or a medical episodes. Possibly both. Welcome. Sit down. We are going to be here for a while. Okay, first things first, let's establish our reality before I start losing my mind. Barcelona, Champions League quarterfinals, second leg, and we are down 2 goals to nil from the first leg. That means for the mathematicals in the room, God bless you. Barcelona need to score at least 3 goals without conceding, or score 2 goals and take it to extra time, where historically anything becomes possible. Now let's talk about who they are facing. Atletico Madrid under Diego Pablo Simeone, a man who has spent the last 15 years constructing one of the most psychologically resistant, tactically disciplined, defensively monstrous football clubs in European history. This is not a plucky underdog who got lucky in the first leg. This is Atletico Madrid, a team that has knocked out Barcelona, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, and essentially the entire European upper class over the past decades. Let me say that again so it lands. Simeone has made this his life. The man wears the simple training gears every day. He runs touchlines like he's personally offended by opposing coaches. He has turned defensive football into an art form so complete that journalists have literally written philosophical books about it. So when people say, "Oh, it's really Atletico, Barcelona can do it," I want you to understand the scale of the delusion that requires. But here's the thing. And this is the thing that keeps me up at night in the possible way. Barcelona have done this before. Not just once, not just twice. Barcelona have on multiple occasions in their history looked at what appears to be completely closed door and kicked it off its hinges. And the real question isn't whether they can, the question is whether they will tonight against this specific team in this specific moment. That's what we are going to unpack forensically, lovingly, and with a healthy amount of screaming. Let me tell you something about Barcelona Football Club that I think get lost in the modern conversation about them. We spend so much time talking about their tactics, their pressing, their possession stats, their financial disasters, their president doing whatever Laporta is currently doing, which honestly is usually either something brilliant or something insane. No middle ground. That we forget something fundamental about this club. Barcelona don't just win games. Barcelona make histories. And I don't mean that in a flowery, motivational poster scene. I mean it literally on a improbable number of occasions, manufacture results that have no rational explanation. Let me give you the receipts. 2017 PSG Champions League at 16. PSG destroyed Barcelona 4-0 in first leg at the Parc des Princes. 4-0 at home with Neymar, Di Maria, Draxler, Calvini all firing. The entire football wall wrote the obituary. I remember journalists doing post-mortems on Barcelona European era, pundits on television looking at cameras with sad eyes like something had died. Then the second leg happened. By the 88th minute, Barcelona were 5-1 up on the night, winning 5-4 on the aggregate. They needed one more goal and the tie was over in the favor of PSG. Neymar scores from a free kick 5-2, then a penalty 5-3, and then Sergio Roberto in the 95th minute toe pokes the most chaotic goal in Champions League history to send Barcelona through the night 6 goal to 1. 6 to 1. The remontada, the comebacks, so mythological that French people still can't stay that the world without psychologically grimacing. I've seen it. It's genuinely funny. But here's what I want you to talk about from that. It wasn't magical. Well, it was magic, but underneath the magic there was something real. There was a collective psychological states that Barcelona reached, where they stopped playing like they knew they might win and started playing like they knew they would. That's the thing about great comebacks in football. They don't happen gradually. They happen in clicks. One goal clicks something. The crowd clicks something. The next goal arrives faster. Momentum is not a metaphor in football. It is a real, observable phenomenon that changes the psychological behavior of every player on the pitch. Can Barcelona click that into the state against Atletico? That's the key variable. And this is where my analysis and my emotion diverge slightly, because analytically I know it's a different era, different players, different tactical concept, but emotionally the soul of that club does not change. The tradition of believing the impossible is normal at that club is baked in. Lamine Yamal grew up watching those games. Pedri grew up watching those games. You cannot tell me that doesn't matter. You cannot tell me that when Hansi Flick writes on the tactics board, we need 3 goals, and every player in that dressing rooms doesn't feel somehow hysterical. Memory what this club was done before. Call it heritage, call it psychological advantage, call it completely irrational, but it's real. And tonight, I will either matter enormously or not at all. That's the brainily Barcelona lives in. Okay, deep breath. I have been emotional. Now let me be honest, because if we are going to talk about comebacks, we first have to talk about where's the defect to come back in the first place. And the answer to that question is not fluttering from Barcelona. The first leg was, tactically speaking, a masterclass in one team understanding exactly what they needed to do, and another team walking face first into the wall they could see coming from 3 miles away. Simeone knew. He knew that Barcelona high press is predictable when they don't have the ball. Their pressure triggers are identifiable. When the ball goes to a specific zone, specific Barcelona players sprint to close specific areas, and Atletico practiced exploiting that. They practiced it relentlessly. The result was that in the first 15 to 20 minutes, every time Barcelona committed men forward to press, Atletico sprung the trap and had numbers the other way. Barcelona defensive transition was caught multiple times, and it wasn't random, it was systematic. Here my criticism of Hansi Flick, and I say this as someone who believes he largely the right manager for this moment. Flick is brilliant at getting the best out of individual talents in possession. His front three are terrifying. His high blocks when it works is suffocating. His team plays some of the most beautiful football in European history, but there are some moment, and the first leg was one of them, where he gets out tactically by a coach who has spent more time thinking about how to beat Barcelona than Flick. There's spent thinking about how Atletico will try to beat Barcelona. Simone had a plan, a specific, detailed Creole plan, and it worked. And the red card, Pau Kubasi, 19 years old, sent off while unfortunate should not be used as a complete excuse. The score before the red card was already concerning. The structural programs were visible before 10 men became the story. Now here's the thing, and this is critical points for the second leg. Simone plans worked once. The question is whether Flick has watched enough film, which I believe he has, to adjust the press triggers to make Barcelona less reliable, to present a different program, different problem. Because here's what Simone does not enjoy: chaos, fluidity, quick 1-2s in the tight spaces, players who don't panic under pressure, and as it happens, Barcelona have exactly those players. They just need to be trusted. Let me now give you the actual tactical frameworks I believe Barcelona needed to be executed to win this tie. This is not hopeful guessing. This is based on watching both teams extensively and understanding what Atletico hate and what Barcelona are capable of when they are at their best. Point 1. Do not play direct. I know that sounds obvious, but let me explain. When Barcelona play direct balls, long balls, quick switches before combinations, Atletico defensive blocks has time to organize. They are elite and resting their defensive shapes. The 4-4-2 or 4-5-1 Simone deploys drops deep and make itself compact within seconds. The way you break a compact deep block is not by trying to smash through you break it by moving it. You make it shift left, right, and then you find the gap that appears because the block cannot stay perfectly compact when it's constantly moving literally. That requires passion, that requires ball retention under pressure, and that is exactly what Pedro and Frankie de Jong are built for. Point 2. The midfield must be the engine, not just the relay station. One of Barcelona's issues this season has been that their midfield sometimes functions as a transit zone between the defenders and the attackers. Balls come back, get recycled, get forward, repeat. Against Atletico low blow, that's not enough. The midfielders need to be proactive. They need to receive the ball in tight spaces, turn, create penetrated. Spready specifically needs to be finding pockets between Atletico lines, receiving with his back to goal, turning defenders, playing through balls that open the defensive structure. Frankie needs to be box to box, not technically, physically. He needs to be arriving late in the penalty area. He needs to be sound web of attack. Atletico will not expect a midfielder arriving on the edge of the box, and that unpredictability is actually what's needed. Point 3. Lamine Yamal must go 1 versus 1 repeatedly. I will explain on Lamine Yamal in a moment, but tactically point it this. Atletico right side facing Yamal will be under the most pressure they have experienced in their tournament. Yamal needs the ball early, often and with space to run at his opponent. The temptation will be play safe, to keep possession, to be calculus. That's understandable given the stakes. But caution is what Atletico want. Caution means low block never gets stretched. Caution means they absorb and counter. Barcelona need to be brave. Control bravery. Points 4. Set pieces are criminally underabused by Barcelona. This one genuinely frustrated me. Barcelona have tall, athletic players who are capable in their ear. They have been poor at set pieces for a long time. Against a team sitting deep, set pieces are free chances. One goal from a corner, from a well-worked free kick routine, one that changes the entire psychological landscape of the tie. Suddenly, Atletico need 3 goals. Suddenly, their block has to come out more. Suddenly, Barcelona have created a new game. Flick needs to have specific set pieces routines prepared, not generic. Specific design for Atletico defense shape. Those are the 4 pillars. Execute them. Barcelona have a genuine chances fail on any of them. Atletico closed the door. I want to talk specifically about Frankie de Jong for a moment, because Frankie de Jong might be the one most fascinating, most maddening, most purely talented, and simultaneously most underachieving player of Barcelona. And I say that with enormous affection and enormous frustration. When Frankie de Jong is at his best, and I mean his actual best, not his decent Tuesday away day best, but his, this is why we paid 86 million euros best. He's one of 3 or 4 best midfielders in the world. He glides. I don't use that word loosely. The man psychologically glides between defensive line in a way that should not be possible for someone in his size. He receives the ball under pressure, and somehow has 3 more seconds than physics should allow. He drives forward with purpose. He finishes, he defends. He is, when clicking, a genuinely elite footballer. So why? Why? Does it feel like we only see that Frankie de Jong 40% of the time? This is the paradox, and I have been through about it a lot. My theory, and it's partly tactical, partly psychological, is that Frankie de Jong operates best when he has completely clarity of role, when he knows exactly what he is supposed to do in every phase of the game. At his best for Barcelona, for Netherlands, there's a simplicity to his function. He tells receive here, drive here, arrive here, and he executes it beautifully, perfectly. The problem is that Barcelona midfield structure have been inconsistent about what they are asking him to do. Sometimes he's a 6, sometimes an 8, sometimes essentially a 10. And Frankie, unlike some players who thrive in ambiguously, seems to perform better when their structure are clarity. For this game specifically, I need Flick to tell Frankie exactly who he is. You are right. You are 8. You receive in a left half space. You play 1-2s with Pedri. Arrive late in the box from the 3 zones. You defend from the front when you lose the ball. Give him a clarity. Watch what happens. Because if Frankie de Jong plays his best football tonight, truly his best, Atletico midfield has a problem they didn't plan for. Koke and Saul and whoever else Simeone lines up cannot handle a truly elite Frankie de Jong in his best. They just can't. Only the person who can stop Frankie de Jong at his best is Frankie de Jong himself. And tonight of all nights, I need him to get out of his own way. And then there is Pedri. I don't want to dramatic, but Pedri Gonzalo, one of the best midfielder produced by European football in 15th years. And I'm completely serious about that. He's 22 years old, 22, and he plays with the calmness of someone who has 9 football lives. He has no unnecessary moments. Every touch has a purpose. Every pass is weirdly correct. Every position decision is quiet and precise and absolutely devastating to the other team's structure. There's a word in Spanish, madurez, which translates roughly as maturity. But it means more than that. It means a ripeness of understanding, a completeness. Pedri's played with measures that players 15th years his seniors don't possess. In the context of the match, specifically Pedri does something that is almost unique in modern football. He makes complete spaces feel open. That sounds poetic and useless, but let me explain it drastically. Atletico defensive back is built on the principle that you compress the space. The opponent runs out of ideas. Most teams do run out of ideas in compact space. They rush, they force passes, they go long, they panic. Pedri doesn't panic in compact space. He finds angles that don't appear to exist. He plays through pressure rather than away from it, and in doing so, he physically moves defenders because they have to follow him. And when defenders move, gaps appears. Every time Pedri receives the ball in tight area and keeps it, really controls it, really owns it. He's doing micro walks that accumulates into macro damage on Atletico structure. 10 Pedri moments in a row, 20, 30, and suddenly Atletico defensive block is fractured. Suddenly there are corridors. That is the Pedri method. Patient, surgical, relentless. Combined with Frankie, combination with Yamal on the wing and Rafinha driving from other side, combined with Lewandowski's moment, dragging centre backs, this is how you break a deep block. Not with power, with water. Water doesn't smacks a rock apart. Water erodes in slowly, patiently until it crumbles. Pedri is water and Atletico rocks. No matter how solid, not impermeable. I need to talk about Lamine Yamal separately because I think in a rush of tactical analysis, we sometimes undersell what this player actually is. Lamine Yamal is 17 years old. Say it with me, 17. When I was 17, I was watching football on the laptop that took 4 minutes to load a YouTube video. I was worried about school exams. I was having arguments with my parents about completely insufficient things that in at the time. Lamine Yamal at 17 is the most dangerous attacking player in Europe on his day. I am not exaggerating. I am not being hyperbolic. I am reporting a factual observations shared by coaches, analysts, and defenders who have faced him. The things about Yamal that separates him from other talented young wingers is that he doesn't just have one weapon. Most young players who break through at 17 have one trick. They are fast, or they can shoot, or they can dribble. Yamal has all of it simultaneously. He's fast, his dribbling unit technique is already elite, not promising from his age, elite. Actually elite. His decision making in the final third is mature beyond any reasonable expectation. His shot is powerful and accurate, and his crossing, his ability to deliver the ball from wide positions is already better than players who have been doing this for 10 years. This combination is rare, obstinately rare, the kind of rare that appears once in a generation. Atletico Madrid defensive's right side tonight, Yamal has an opportunity to announce himself on the absolute biggest stage in club football. The defense are facing him with discipline, well organized, tactically smart. They will try to double up. They will try to show him inside where the help is. They will try every trick Simeone has caused. And Yamal, who has faced all of this before, who has been facing it since he was 15 and playing professional football, will has answers. He always had answers. The question is not whether Lamine Yamal can produce individual brilliance tonight. The question is whether individual brilliance is enough when the other 14 players of his team are also doing their jobs. And if it is, Barcelona execute tactically and Yamal provides the moments of genius that no tactical system can plan for. Atletico have a serious problem. Alright, we have been here for a while. You have seen me through history, through tactics, through genuine philosophical musing and about the nature of belief in football. And now you want the prediction. Okay, I believe Barcelona scores early within the first 20 minutes, and I believe the first one, changed the entire architecture of this match. Suddenly, Atletico need two goals to be safe. Suddenly, their low block gets complicated. Do they push higher? Do they stay deep? As risks more pressure, Simones will manage it. But the option narrows him. I believe the second goal comes from a set-up piece of Yamal moments of individual brilliance in the second half, because that's when Atletico legs, they are not young squad, will begin to feel the match. Third goal, possibly Frankie de Jong arrives late, possibly Lewandowski from 12th yard, doesn't matter who, but it comes. All three kneel on the night, 3 goals to nil, while leave in aggregate, and everything changes. Atletico for the first time are chasing, they spend their whole tie defending, and now suddenly they need something, and that is not where Simone's team is designed to be. From there Barcelona go again, fourth goal, extra time are absolute minimum. Possibly in 90 minutes, final prediction, Barcelona 4, Atletico 1, aggregate tied 4-3. Extra time drama, Barcelona win the tide. Is this rational? No. Is this based on evidence? Partly. Is this the heart of the mid-minding, fighting each other and the heart winning on the penalty shootout? Yes, absolutely yes. But tell me something, the best football I ever watched, the moments that made me love this sports, were never the rational outcomes. They were irrational ones. The ones nobody predicted. The ones that make people stop mid-conversation years later and say, do you remember that night? When those moments happens, those are why we're here. Tonight might be one of them, or it might not. And if it's not, I will be back with very different video talking about brutal reality of being a football fan. But here right now, I'll choose irrational option. I choose to believe. God help me. If you made this far, genuinely thank you. That means you are obsessed with this, and I want you to know that I respect that, and I also slightly worry about both of us. Drop in the comments, do you think Barcelona are going through? Give me a prediction. Give me your scores. Tell me the moments you turn the tie. I'll be reading every single one. If Barcelona go through, the video becomes a momentum and I will pin it. I will reference it for years. If they don't, this video will quietly disappear at approximately midnight and we will never speak of it again. Like and subscribe if you want more of losing my mind over football in an emotionally intelligent but still completely irrational way. And wherever you're watching this, wherever in the world you are, whatever socks you are wearing, I hope tonight gives you the football you deserve. Viscal Barça, let's go.